All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mimosa Hotline, where we are live here for you every Thursday to bring you top of mind hot topics from our week, our life, our business, and hopefully share our experience, expertise, and insight with you. So as always, you have Ronii Bartless, your business strategist, and myself, Ashley Rhoda, your brand strategist. And I'm excited to be with you guys today and just share some of the things that came up from our week. So Ronnie's been through it this week. So
yeah.
There's some grace and love because we all know those weeks.
My brain's mush. It feels like it's mushy this week. Like I can't. It's just, yeah.
I love it.
Overwhelming. Which is so weird because like just 2 weeks ago, I was like, I don't have anything to do. Overwhelming.
Yes. Well,
which is so weird because like just 2 weeks ago, I was like, I don't have anything to do.
Oh gosh, that's
yeah, you got Facebook on. Technology. It's not even Mercury retrograde.
Shoot, I was trying to be so stealth and like under the radar of that, but okay, well, truth be told, there's back end that happens, okay? But I will say we have the comments open for you. So we are here. If you're watching, please put in, say hello in the comments, questions, comments, concerns. Speak with us throughout this. It's an open conversation for you. And if there are any questions that you would like us to address, please put them in the comments. Either during the show, after the show, we are here for you. Okay, so yeah, you were talking about how this week you were slammed. Last week you didn't have anything to do. I know I'm almost embarrassed to even tell you about my week. It's been so lovely and chill. So we won't even talk about it. Like, girl, get off this call.
Yeah. But remember 2 weeks ago when I had nothing to do, you were slammed. Like, I mean, that's just how things happen. Like, it's just how work works.
Yeah.
You know,
wave, ebbs and flows and seasons and reasons and all of the things. So let's talk a little bit though, because we do have some structure today, which might be shocking to most people. Let me actually, sorry, okay, I've got that. I've got this. Okay. So this week, one of the things that I wanted you to share with all of us is that you're working with one of your clients and business partners to interview a marketing person, let's say. Do you want to share a little bit about like what the situation is, what you're looking for, and what you've found?
Yeah. So kind of how this all came about. So this company is the most boring company ever because it's ISO standard training, like, but it's a need and it is what it is. And it turned 20 years old on February 1st. So it's like, I was like, it's been a big deal. And I was like, that's so amazing because I'm only 29. But anyway, nice. Solid joke that I'm still 29, but I'm sticking to that. Yeah. But so, as we've grown it, Jim came to me and was like, let's put some money towards marketing. Like, what kind of campaign can we do for $1,000? And I just was like, I don't want to spend $1,000 in Google ads when the website's not converting. Like, we have a website problem, like solidly have a website problem. Any sales that we've made from our online courses online are people that we directed there. Like, they contacted us for a specific need and we were like, hey, you can go purchase this online. Here's the link. Oh, wow. It wasn't somebody like landed on the site and converted, right? Okay. So conversion problem. And I was like,
conversion or SEO, because you said no one landed on the site.
No. So I'm getting a traffic of like 2,000 visitors a month. And zero.
So that's how you figured that out. I love that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm getting traffic of close to 2,000 people a month coming in with a very specific keyword, turtle diagrams, which I don't expect anybody to know what that is, but that is our like 98% of our traffic comes in for one specific keyword or a variation of it. Okay. But once they come in and we have a turtle diagram for sale, like, if they're coming in looking for one, they should convert to spend $30 on an editable version that they can use in their company.
Got it.
So we've got 0% conversion. And so I'm like, I've got traffic. I don't want to send more traffic to a site that doesn't convert. Like,
yeah, no, but I think that's helpful for other people in maybe a situation to be like, like, as you say, marketing is a science. It's not an art, and like, right is not the phrase. Okay. Just
yes. No,
like,
very good.
just quote that. But it's like, it's interesting for people to pick apart their own, to be like, do I have traffic or do I have conversion or do I have neither? Like, I love that.
Right.
Okay. So
yeah. And I mean, and I didn't even like use my marketing calculator to figure, normally I use my marketing calculator to figure those things out. Like, this is so obvious. Like, I didn't even have to do that. Like, I'm like, nobody's bought from the site. Like,
yeah.
It's a conversion problem. I don't want to send more people to a site that doesn't convert.
Right.
So I was like, if we're going to spend $1,000, I want to spend $1,000 on a conversion copywriter that can come in and clean up the site so that it'll convert, like, period. And I'm a good writer, but I'm not a conversion copywriter, right? Like,
again,
you know,
we
like,
talk about this is a specified like skill.
right.
Copywriters are a thing.
Yeah. I mean,
a developer is not a copywriter.
right. And while I can write, there's an art form to that. So like, I want somebody that kind of specializes in that. So we went down this rabbit hole of starting to look for a marketing agency or person to come in and kind of help us with that. And one, to take the load off of me, because I'm doing a lot more high-end administrative operations, executive stuff versus the spending 6 hours on a freaking email to go to our list. Like, that's not a
best use of a Ronii.
My time.
Hello, I see you out there, Victor. Say hi.
So basically I need to replace myself, you know, with some different skills, which happens often, which is a good problem to have. And so we went down the whole rabbit hole of like starting to try and find somebody in marketing. And Jim had, you know, he's a connector. He got on LinkedIn, found somebody he's connected with that has, you know, a marketing agency, and it's like, hey, come, you know, let's have a meeting, set up a meeting. I then also in the meantime had met a girl for coffee a few months ago that I totally clicked with. She's going to totally be in our little bestie vibe at some point because she's super awesome. And so I was like, reached out to her and I was like, hey, can you come talk to us? She's like, great. So we set that all up. And so last Friday we met with the first one, and where this story is going, we met with her. I mean, we spent an hour talking to her about where the company came from, like what we sell, what ISO standards we do, what are our services within that, and like how we see our site as kind of being jumbled up of all this stuff. And we're so close to it, we can't actually look at it with an outside perspective and go, this makes sense. Because I can look at it one day, guys, make perfect sense. And then the next day I go back and look at it, I was like, this makes no sense whatsoever. So
I know, and I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but there's another golden nugget right there for people that if you feel like your site is jumbled, it's because you're too close to it. And there's no shame in that, or like, I should be able to do it all, or I can do it all. It's like, you need outside perspective, whether through business besties, through hired support, through whatever, but don't feel like it's your fault. It's literally you. You can't see your own eyebrows. So like this, you can't see the label on the jar, like whatever. Little term
can't see the trees through the forest, you know, like
exactly. I'm not gonna lie to you, that one always confused me, the trees through the forest. I was like,
or the forest through the trees. I can't. I don't remember what it is.
I never like visualize that one. I get the eyebrows, but the other ones anyway. Sorry.
Anyway,
but so another element just for people that are listening to be like, oh man, I think I have that too. Like, I need outside perspective. So you share with this girl everything. You spend an hour telling her everything.
Oh my God. And like, it's so much information. And her eyes were like glazed over. And she asked great questions, and which was awesome. And she's super nice. Like, I liked her a lot. But then we kind of were like, okay, so like, what do you do? What are your services? What do you think? Like, where could you see yourself fitting in? And she works for a larger agency, and she started in on the sales pitch. And I've been through enough trainings, like I can see the psychology of exactly what she's doing as she's pitching it, you know?
We're at the intro. Now we're at the proof of work. Now we're at the need.
Objection, like overcome the objection, like 100%. I'm like, there's a script here. I for sure see it. And so she jumps into that and like tells us about her business. And she's in an agency that has a very specific product that she can't actually, they don't have any capabilities to be outside of their process. So they're very local based, SEO based, which is great. 100% believe in that. And we're going to need that. But why should I put money into SEO to drive more traffic when I can't convert it?
Right.
And I kept telling her that, and she just kept going, well, we have to clean up your your local Google listing, which agreed. Like we have work to do. Also, 80% of our clients are not local. Like
Right.
that's not the kind of business we're in. So yes, it does, but you didn't listen to what I said. And I was like, so like, what kind of services do you have to like improve the site conversion? And she was like, well, we'll do long form blog posts with keywords. And I'm like, that doesn't convert anything. That just drives traffic. Like, she was like, well, here's the list of our services. Cause I up front was like, I'm a marketing person. I've spent 20 years doing this. Like
like warning,
100%. And she could not break out of, here's our list of our package. And this is what we offer. You just pick the number of hours you want in a week.
I am a robot. I offer you these.
And I'm like, at that point, knowing that I specifically said, here is our problem. You're what we need when we solve this problem.
Yeah.
Had it been me at that very moment, I was like, we're not the right fit. We need to talk in 6 months.
Yes. Or say like, hey, I hear where you're at. This is what we offer. I'm now realizing it's not a perfect fit, but I'd like to offer or suggest, these connections of like people that do what I don't do, or Shake, let me buy you coffee.
Right. Can I follow up in 6 months?
Yeah. And like, I know it's not the end of the world, but like, yeah. Okay.
Right.
So how to get her out of the office? That's what I want to know.
Well, we did the normal, put together a proposal for us and we'll give it a look. Like that's the best way to kind of like get them going is, send us a proposal.
Like on a date or like in business, it's so awkward when you're like, this is not work.
I mean, yeah, as soon as she started into the pitch, I was like, I know she listened, but also didn't at the same time.
Right. Do your kids, do your research. And
right.
Ask, this is one thing that I get where myself, vendors, anybody, it's like, this goes back to the thing when I'm saying you're both wrong, both the client and the vendor is wrong because they're not asking the right questions. Now, like, first, I kind of blame Jim on this one. So he gets a gold star for going to his network of people he already knows, like awesome job, but he didn't look into it deep enough to see, yes, it said marketing. So like, good job, but not like, was it towards what you needed? Like copywriter versus marketing is two different things. But then also on her part, she didn't do enough. I would say like, now we're all guilty of this. So I'm not saying like I'm better than or anything. I do this too at times, but I'm better now. Asking the pre-questions before you get on the call to make sure it's something you should be there for, and of course, there's always those one or two things that no matter what, like vetting or intake qualifying isn't a miss, of course, but like, let's get a little closer. Like, this is like my target aim. I mean, I barely hit the wall, let alone the target board.
Right. So, and I mean, I totally understand like from her perspective. I mean, I've been on her side too, right? Like, and Jim he asked a question, like very typical client side question that marketing gets every single time of, well, how much money can you make me within the first like 2 weeks?
Right.
And I sat back and I just like let her kind of like give her like salesy kind of answer. And I was like, can I jump in here? Like, I have something to say about this. And Jim was like, shit, if you have to ask, it must be bad. I was like, well, I'm a marketing person. I have sat on her side of the table and I'm going to tell you right now, marketing is not a short-term win. It is a long-term investment. So I realize you want a short-term win, because you want to know that you have the proof in spending that money, right? Like I understand your need for that, but you have to understand how marketing works. It's a long-term investment. That said, putting my concentric customer side hat on, like we need to come up with some things that can be time sensitive, that can give us some short-term wins. And that's our job, not hers.
Well, and I also think that like people, I'm going to just break this down in blonde term for myself for a second, but like marketing is a megaphone. It's not a cash register. Just look at it like that. Like sales is a cash register. It takes money, puts it in, gives back change.
Right.
Marketing marketing is a megaphone. It distributes your message. It tells people what you do. You can't you can't receive cash and give change through a megaphone. Like, it just is literally not possible. So like, are we like yada, yada, yada? Or are we like, da, 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 here's your change? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. I mean, I get that with Facebook ads all the time. People are like, my Facebook ad's not working. I'm like, your Facebook ad isn't meant to sell.
Yeah.
Your Facebook ad is meant to drive, like your website sells it. So like, same kind of problem here. Like, if your Facebook ad isn't working, well, one, it could not be working. That does happen, but you have to look at the analytics on that. But two, if it's driving traffic and you're not making any sales, like, it's obvious what that problem is.
Right. It's technically working, but it's not converting. So that's so like,
that's a website problem,
right?
Not a Facebook ad problem. That's not Facebook's problem.
No, you know, it's getting you the traffic, the website that's not converting. I love that. Okay.
But people all the time are like, my ad needs to sell. And I'm like, that's not what they're for.
No. And that's a good reminder for all of us. It's like, what, I don't want to use bucket, but like, I don't know, what would be a better word than that? But like, it's like, what are you working? Like, what lane are you in? You know, are you in marketing? Are you in sales? Are you in development? Are you in convert? Like, you know, I don't know another way to say that, but it's like, check yourself. Like, what the need you have, where would you put that? Like,
yeah. And I think
this is which bucket it goes into, but it's kind of square hole, round peg.
Yeah. Yes.
I said that all right.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Well, and I think, it definitely has been a week, but I think that's also a good conversation too. Like, I even had to do it with Jim this morning, and like, he's like, okay, my goal today is I'm going to write 10 long form blog posts. Here are 6 keywords I think I'm going to, focus on. I'd like to have 10. What are some other ones? And so I'm like,
this still doesn't help make the cash register ring.
So then I was like, okay, well, here's some keywords that I think we need to concentrate on, but here are some tools I use for keyword research. He was like, can we jump on a call? And I was like, today is one of these days that I cannot handle 2 hours of you, because I just don't have time for it, because I have a ton of client work to get done. But I'm like, I have 30 minutes. So we jump on a call, and I was like, yeah, about like long, because we're in this content mode, right? Like, because this is the thing that's been coming up as we've been interviewing people, and it's like content. And I'm like, I'm not saying that this is a bad strategy. What I need to know is, what is your goal here? Like, what's our goal? Because now we need to reverse engineer it. Like, if I have your goal, I can tell you what to do. And I don't think it's writing 10 long form posts right now. Like, I need you to actually build a class that we sold 2 weeks ago that's not there. Like, that's really what I need you to do. But
again, perspective. Sometimes you're, CEOing all over yourself, and you think you're doing the right thing, when it's like, you need somebody else to just kind of like course correct you. You're kind of the mouse that's like that little car or something that's like running into the wall, and it's like, just pull it back and then pivot and let it go flying around,
Right.
I'm such a cat lady. The fact I used a mouse right it's the mouse toy that gets stuck in the wall. You got to release it. It'll run around. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right. So lady number 1, we appreciate you. Thank you for your brilliant scripting abilities, and you're out the door. But it seems like maybe lady number 2, who you had met for coffee prior, were you able to bring her back and talk to her about this?
Yeah, she came in yesterday afternoon and talked to us. And I mean, we actually like spent almost 2 hours with her yesterday.
Okay.
And she is like a lot like me, which I'm kind of like, I didn't have to say much. I already knew her. So like, this was really a her and Jim thing. So, she's a lot like me. She did it exactly how I would, what do you do? Like, she took notes. I could tell she was jotting down thoughts as we were talking, and we got to the end of it. And she was like, I want to take this back, kind of sit with my thoughts so I can give a good recommendation. I do need to know like what's timeline and what's our budget, which great conversation stuff.
We want. Yay.
Right. And it's exactly how I do it when I talk to people. Like, when they come to me with a project, I get what I need. And I'm like, I need to sit with this for a day, and then I'll get some information back to you. I don't give them price on the spot. I don't even give them like deliverables on the spot. I'm like, I kind of need it's strategic. Like, I need to think about this. She did exactly how I would do it. And I was like, I mean, for timeline, it's one of those things, like, we don't have something coming up that we have a deadline for this. but it also can't keep dragging out either. So I don't necessarily have a specific timeline that I have,
It's not
an event coming up.
Start date as much as like a length of time to do said project. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if we had a conference coming up, I'd be like, okay, yeah, we do have a specific deadline, but we don't really. So I'm like, I just don't want it to drag out. And at this point, I was like, I let Jim kind of tackle the budget question, because I'm like, I mean, I'll spend whatever, but I also know like money is money. We have to figure that piece out. But he kind of danced around it for a second because he knew it was going to be way more than $1,000. But
well, it's some things you invest in and some things you can get discount or cheaper or whatever. It's knowing where to spend and what to spend on. And you have to look too at the ROI of this specifically, because this specifically is a converting. So while if you were to invest in this and you get the results that you say you want, then how fast can you redeem that expense / what do you make on that? And it's like, if it's done right, then it's a continual return on investment, right? Like if done right, then our 2,000 people start converting, and this is like a thank you offer. Like
at this point, our conversion rate's 0. So even if we got to 1%, it would be better, right? I mean, most average conversions for any industry is somewhere between 2 and 5%. But at this point, I'd be happy with 1 because it's at 0.
Yes.
Like I'd be happy at 0.5%. Like,
yeah,
at least it would be something.
And that's something. And then that keeps you away from having to create more content if you're actually selling the damn thing that you want to be selling. So again, like let's get real. Yeah.
Well, and I'm 100% yes, we need to work on organic SEO. Yes, we need to invest in Google Ads. Yes, we need to do more email newsletters. Yes, we need to do LinkedIn stuff. Like I know that this is a whole strategy, but these things also don't happen overnight. It's a lot of work. Like even as Jim was like content 2 days ago, I was like, you do realize you just created yourself a full-time job. Yeah. I mean, we need, webinars, and we need long form, we need white papers, we need long form blog posts, and we need social media posts and all. Like, it's like, you just created yourself a full-time job.
I'm going to out something I like to share with my clients because it seems like this is like the perfect fit for it. So I call it the CEO perspective, where you're looking at 3 Ps: your process, your projects, and your priorities. So the process is like, okay, in a dream world, start to finish, before working with me, while working with me, after working with me, what's that process I want to take people through? And then going through that ideal, like you may not be doing it all. Like obviously we'd all be loving to send handwritten thank you cards at the end. Maybe we're not doing that yet, but at least put it there for like intention and integrity of the process, right? And you go back and you're looking at things that you need to refresh. Okay, I have, the current webinar, but we want to refresh it. Or, hey, I need to design these white pages. We don't have that yet. And I also really want to, enhance the process by adding that thank you note or whatever it is. So you kind of identify those 3 things: refresh, design, enhance. And then what I think is where you're at right now is that overwhelm. You have everything that you want to be doing, but you've got the superhuman ambition with the human capacity problem. And you're like, duh. So then what I like to do is just identify the now, next, later. Like, okay, of all of this will happen in the lifetime of the business. But today, what do we need to be focused on? And if it's those sales items, then you're picking those items off that work with the cash register. Then next, it's like, okay, now let's do this. And then I think that really helps people. I shared that earlier in the week, and I shouldn't share that because it's actually a service I help walk people through. But there it is. You're welcome. But it's helpful. And I need to do that too. I mean, like, we need to do that on tomorrow's call, but because I have that too with myself right now. But I feel, Jim, because I really do. Like, I feel like you kind of get to this point of superhuman ambition and the human capacity right when you've up-leveled. Curious what you think, but it's like every time you up-level or evolve or get to a new bracket, you get this, excuse my French, everybody, but like clusterfuck of influx. Like all of a sudden you have all this clarity, idea, and direction. And it's like the whole thing needs to be redone. And then it's like, shit, how do I do all this? And you want it done now, but there's like, it takes time. I mean, do you think that's a trigger of it? It's like when you either hit a new bracket, a new evolution, like, what do you think? I don't know.
I mean, I guess to that point, yes. So it's kind of one of those things. One of our goals last year was to start to build out some of these courses. And while it went slower than we wanted, we hit that.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a next level of,
now you have it. Now you
okay,
have to
now, you know, we kind of took imperfect action on that, and like, they're at least good enough for the moment. They could be better. So, but now we're to the point where, okay, well, we've got these things, now we need to sell them. Like, so yeah, it is kind of that we've hit a milestone or a goal of some sort, and now we're kind of to that next level. And then it all comes flooding in of like all the things you should be doing, and you just can't hashtag do all the things.
No. And I have to say, hello, viewers. I see you. Say hi in the comments. Let us know if you have any questions, comments, anything. But I have to say, this is almost too good of a tee up for what I wanted to talk about next. Yeah. But it's like, I find this with branding too, you know, in the branding world, it's like, I was speaking to somebody earlier this week, she's year 3. And I was like, oh, you barely made it over the hurdle that I used to like, but I'm not picking on anyone, but there's a thing I think that happens at year 2, year 5, and year 10 is kind of what I'm seeing from the people I'm talking to. And it's this like clarity. I wish it could be something different, but that's like what it is. It's like, okay, year 2 happens and they're like, God, I went to Fiverr for the logo. I had this friend of a friend help me with that and this part and that part. But now, like, having worked with clients for 2 years, I really see like the clients I want to be working with, the service I want to be providing. It's not everything to everyone. I'm like, okay, now I get what people talk about, this whole niche thing. Yeah. They kind of are like figuring it out. Then year 5, you've got more experience, more expertise. You now are building a platform, I would say. Like, and when I say that, I mean, you've got the basic CEO things out of the way, you're above that, but now you're standing for something. You have a platform, a vision, a value, a mission, something that is driving everything. And then at year 10, I find it's the shoemaker without shoes. They're soaring, they've got the income, they're doing everything right, but they're helping everybody else. And they literally just haven't come back to that point. And at those 3 years are places where it's time to enhance and elevate the brand, or it's time to integrate and implement the brand. And so that's actually something that was coming up for me this week. And I wanted to clarify that too, just because I like to do this, but integrating and implementing. So like integrating is infusing the brand into everything. So for you guys, infusing the brand into all of the courses, and then implementing it is using it. So now it's using it in the course materials, using it in the slide decks, using it in the welcome packet for client, new students or whatever you call them. I don't know if you call them that, but yeah, students and things like that. And I think that's an element that I noticed this week got, people not confused, but they were like, okay, like I have all the assets, like I've got the logo, I've got the look, I've got the feel, but like, how do I infuse it and use it? And that was a thing. So one of them, I was speaking to, I think just yesterday, do you ever feel like one day is a week? And you're like, is that last week? And it was yesterday. And then like 2 weeks ago, and that was 2 days ago. That's what I meant.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yesterday. So I'm actually very intrigued by this company because while it might be structured like an MLM, the level of communication and involvement of each layer actually is acting like a company. I'm actually intrigued by it because I'm like, ooh, I thought you were this, but in truth, like you're not. Like it is MLM set up, but their reps actually know the founders and actually know the vendors in the field. So it's one of these jewelry for profit, or jewelry for like philanthropic efforts kind of thing. We've all heard of these, but this one's different. Like the woman I was talking to, she's literally traveling to multiple countries to meet the women that are making the things. Like the other ones are just hosting parties in my kitchen. They don't have a clue the other end of it. Like it was interesting. But she was saying she was also helping the founders on like operational levels and trying to establish more of their travel opportunities and more of their custom jewelry opportunities. And so I'm like looking at her and I'm like, oh my God, at first I would have been like, I don't want anything to do with you. And now I'm like, ooh, I might like you. So if she's watching, you've been approved. But also, you know, she was talking about how they were trying to expand the brand. And I find this as I talk about, there's that kind of my interpretation, two approaches. One is applied, one is identified. And applied, it gets stretch marks when this happens because it wasn't meant to go that big or meant to go that far. And then the identified ones is this, I believe it's an identified brand. It's got the capacity to expand into bigger divisions, verticals, teams, whatever you want to call that. And so I was watching it and I was like, ooh, this has all the right setup for me to kind of help out with this. And, didn't offer it that day, but like just was thinking, this could be a really good creative direction kind of position for me. I'm not looking to build the brand because it's there, but to help them infuse it and use it because they're getting new team members. People are joining this thing, right? But also, how do you keep it consistent and cohesive through top down, but also wide, right? But then charismatic for each one of these people that are representing this, to keep what I'm loving so much right now, which is this essence that isn't MLM. They're genuinely like a group of people that are doing this. Like I'm actually dumbfounded. Like I right? Like I'm pleasantly shocked. Like y'all are doing this right. Like, okay, like fine. If you use the MLM model, that's fine. Like that's a business.
I mean, it's a strategy. Yeah.
But the way that you're doing it, I'm like, I'd get behind that. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay. I liked it, but I'm still kind of like, that was nice. I enjoyed that. But talking about that, it's just one of those things. So,
well, and I think too, like thinking about branding in that regard is like, I think a lot of people, when they think about branding, it's like, okay, well, you design it and it's a project and I have it. Now you move on. Like they don't think about it as being
the life of it, right?
A brand manager that needs to be managed every day. Like, like I've been in big corporations, like they have specific people in the marketing department that are brand managers and their whole job is to manage the brand and making sure that it's infused and integrated and used all in the right way. It's like
100%. Yeah. And hi, Kathleen, I see you. We will answer your question in 1 second. I want to say one more thing and then I will. So that's a big deal. That's why I say branding is something to be, not something to do. At one point, it's something to do. You got to get it done. But then it's something to be, and it's a lifestyle. And to me, it goes back to being conscious, intentional, and symbolic. Conscious because you're mindfully curating and protecting, the aesthetic of who you are. It's conscious, intentional because when it's done just to be a facade of a money-making machine. Yeah. We've all felt that. And then symbolic because it's supposed to symbolically represent everything you don't always have time to say. Meaning, when I was in image consulting, it's like you meet someone from a block away and they already have an image of you. That's your brand, whether you curated it or not. And can I tell you, walking to the gym yesterday, I did not curate my image. Like, caught my reflection multiple times. I was like, this outfit can never see the light of day again. Like, I thought you could mix any sweats together. No, you may not. So I thank the civic world for not shooting me on the spot and stripping me from that outfit, but I promise to do better.
Or running into anybody you know.
Oh my God. Like, just, it would have been better for me to just take off my sweatshirt, have a sports bra and the sweatpants to go with. Cause like, it was bad. It was all, anyways, we all have our days, right? So it's okay, but I at least made it. But yeah, that's what I'm saying about living the brand. Right. And so people they get, and I wish more people, I'm so selfish. I wish I had a platform so big that everyone started seeing it like a lifestyle, because it's like, great, you got it done, but now you got to go live it. And it's like, it's not done after I give you the logo files. It's not done once the website's up, because look at you right now. The website is built, but you guys are realizing there's a conversion problem. That's living the brand. Like, hello. All right. Miss Kathleen has a question for us. She says, how would you describe the Mimosa Hotline brand? Love this. For us, it is, I almost want to cheat. Do you remember our 3 hashtags? Unfiltered, shoot, I gotta cheat.
We're
I don't even know. Okay, but I would say
building it. Let's just say we're in the process of building, so we don't.
No, we totally know it. I just
I
don't
mean,
know
we
how-
know it, but like we
Well,
are in build mode.
yeah, I would say, okay, aesthetically, I'm better at like saying all, oh my meow.
I mean,
Somehow my Google Drive went to list, not icon view. Yuck.
oh, I love the list view.
I know. Oh, you probably changed it. You little
Didn't, but
backend. You totally were in the back end. I know what you're doing. Oh God. Okay. So wait. There it is. Unfiltered, unlearning, and we are the next. So unfiltered is because we very much want to show up raw, real, transparent, like not this fluffy, positive vibes, like business is hard. We want to be real about that. We want to show you what we're working on, what we can help you with, and like just get to it. Not all of that fluff that you have to like swim through. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Unlearning is because Ronnie and I are very much unlearning a lot of the programming from the courses and the classes and the experts and the guru marketing and the hustle culture and all these things that we're just realizing like, bravo, it's a wonderful sales tactic. And like you get us every time with your sparkle syndrome because we're like, I need that.
I know.
But
I have that problem.
It's nothing that we need. So we're unlearning a lot of that and trying to help people avoid going down that dick funnel is what we like to call it. There it is. And then we had this playful we're the next because we really genuinely feel like we're your next investment or we're your next bestie that can help you with that next thing that you're working on. And I would say the brand itself aesthetically is going to be placed, and you haven't seen much of this yet, but Ronnie's rocking this website. She's also building it all out. But I want you to envision like girl time at a speakeasy, very elegant, smoky,
sophisticated.
Oh, thank you. Word out of my mouth. Thank you so much. Sophisticated essence to it. And actually the logo, if you've noticed, I tried to design it like a champagne bubble. So it's got some highlights in it, but it's supposed to be a champagne bubble. And then we have the champagne toast for Mimosa Hotline, which I just laugh because neither of us have ever had a mimosa together, but it's like, that's how it all started. Like when we were doing our calls on Sundays, I wanted to put it in the calendar as something fun to look forward to. And we both were like, oh my God, we need like a support line and like girl time and like a mimosa. And then I was like, the hotline. And that's literally how it came through.
And that's our brand. I mean, you know,
that's
like we need girl time and a hotline and like, and I look at it because my personal brand's very much this way too, like sophisticated yet approachable. You know, like I mean, I'm a tourist, so I like things that are very luxurious. Like I might not have a lot of stuff, but it's all really nice stuff. You know, like I want it to be very luxurious and high end and sophisticated. But I think we're both very approachable people. Like we'll talk to anybody about anything. You know, like, and we won't hold back.
No, and I think the other thing that people, I hope will pick up on is it's actually the perfect blend of both of our brand identities as individuals. So mine is very black and gold and Ronnie's is very blush pinks and dark greens and beautiful colors. And so what we did in blending it was we kept the gold of my company Okay. Hello, everyone. Bear with us. We're here for you. Bear with us. Hold on one second. This is exciting. Hello, everyone. So I'm not sure exactly what just happened, but I think we gave you too much amazingness because we just crashed out the internet. But I want to see one thing. I think we're live and still recording and everything's fine, which would be kind of amazing.
I mean, I'm back and it says recording and it says Facebook on my end. So I think we're good.
I think we're okay. Okay. So sorry, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us for that. Oops. It's not a Mercury retrograde, but today is acting like one for me. Sorry about that. Sorry, but
I mean, it all froze and then I'm like, normally when it does that, like a second later, it'll come back, but then it didn't.
It did not. No, it was like everything.
And then let me leave and then come back.
Kathleen says she can hear us now. Okay, good. I thank you for staying with us and thank you for just like being patient about that. Anyways, thank you. So what I was saying, and I want to go back just a little bit, is that we were merging both of our businesses together. So Iconic Details is very black and gold. Ronnie Bartless is very blush tones, the green tones, the speakeasy. And so when I was designing this brand for Mimosa Hotline to honor both of those, I kept the gold from my company. I brought in the blush tone because I felt like that was the femininity vibe behind the girl time and the speakeasy time. And then strategically, I really liked the green tone because of the innovation, new growth, expansion, elegance, converting, green is cash, all the things. So I really liked the green energy as well in it. So I would say it's more of like primary, the blush and gold tones, but that's for that femininity, like, you know, hotline vibe. But we can also do black and pink vibes to make it even more elegant. And if we needed to, different things, but that's where the branding is coming from. And I think that there will be even more opportunity to see that. Like right now, you just see our Facebook page, which we just established, but we're going to have a full website for you, a full speakeasy to like come and join and get the vibe as well. We're going to have an actual phone line for you to call in on. So this is where it like builds out into the brand and you get the experience. One thing I really, really want to bring into this brand, Mimosa Hotline, is experiential details. I often like to say, and I'm playful with this, but like how sensual is your experience? And it's a play on words. Well, you thought I meant like sensual. I meant like senses. Like, what do you see, taste, feel, hear? Like, what's the sense of this? I want, even though I cannot stand velvet, I want the velvet vibe. I want the, you know, smoky ambiance of the cigar feel. I don't smoke either. Like, this is not my brand, but anyways, it's like, but I want the full aesthetic of things. So that's the direction. And I hope I answered that question. We answered that question well, but thank you for that. That was fun to explain. That's how we are building it. And then we will infuse it and integrate it, just to go back to what we were saying, as in infusing it into all of the elements of the business that we're going to do, you know? And I think that was another thing about, we're building this out more than just your typical podcast. Like there's going to be a membership community that like you're involved in. There's going to be the hotline. There's all the things. I think I'm explaining it, but then implementing it is we get to live it out. Meaning every Thursday we come live. Like that's living this brand. There's also swag of hats and mugs. I know we all need this. We just need this right now. I get it. Like it's on my task list. I'm struggling with the fonts because I want to be very specific with that, but embroidery of our specific font is what I'm looking for. But we need hats for our days that we can't do our hair, and we need to look fabulous, and we need mugs because we need mugs. Now, mind you, all of you might be thinking, no, we need champagne flutes. We can make that happen too, but I'm just going to start with the basic needs of coffee, hats, get us through the week. And you can feel like you've got the Mimosa Hotline right there for you if you have questions, but those visuals. So that will all be available.
And I'll be honest, like I will put a mimosa in a mug. Like, I don't care. I mean, I'm non-discriminatory that way.
I appreciate you. I can do that. I can do that. Like I had a thing. Kathleen says, exciting. Plus you two are intelligent women with a ton of experience and knowledge and sparkle. Thanks. Okay. I can't wait because when the three of us all get together, let me just say there's gonna be some things. And also Kathleen, shout out to Kathleen Lansing. Kathleen has been my business coach for the last 9 years. Absolute powerhouse, wealth of knowledge, great kick in the ass when you need it. I usually get it often. And she's fabulous. We will definitely be having you on as one of our experts. So mind you, that's going to come up too. So that's the other thing is bear with us because we are running 2 businesses while at the same time trying to set this one up. But we're going to have these new guest expert calls where we bring someone on and interview them. So we have over 2 years of people, because it'd be like 1 a month. We have over 2 years. We just have not gotten to that phase. So, we had a 90-day rollout plan that ends us with pretty much everything done in April, which now I'm starting to squeal and squirm slightly on, but we're going to make it happen.
Yes. Yep.
Like you in any launch phase, this is how it feels. You're like,
yes.
Last week we were like, we've done like 50% of our checklist, which we did. And then this week we're like, I haven't even looked at Mimosa Hotline. Like, what are we talking about today?
Yeah. Agreed.
So
some weeks are that way. Yeah. I mean, and I think this is another good segue into like the last thing we were going to talk about is like living the like CEO kind of hat in your business.
Yeah.
I think we're all trying to do that. And for me, like we're trying to do that with Mimosa Hotline. Like, how do we get the things done we need to get done, but also delegate some things out too? Like,
yeah,
we're just gonna have to do that. And even in our conversations this week with marketing people, I really tried hard with both of those interviews to go in and be like, okay, I'm stepping away from being the marketing girl that does all the social media posts and all that stuff, and really strategically think about, okay, well, I know what the marketing plan strategically needs. I don't need to implement it. And 2, how does that support the bigger strategy of the company? And I think everybody goes through this at some point. So like we look at that company and go, we have this big strategy of being, working with other companies in a holistic perspective in a business management system, rather than just this one little niche of quality management. Like, how can we get further up the chain with executives and infuse this process throughout all processes in a company? And that's kind of the strategy. How can we get started with that? But then you get stuck in the hamster wheel of that quality piece is the revenue generator. Like, I have to keep doing the revenue generation, but I have this bigger strategy. And so you're kind of sitting now in this CEO chair of going, all right, this is revenue coming in, but how do I kind of get past the plateau to get to this bigger strategy that I want to do?
Yeah. And it's like, how do you do it all? It's like, how do you get the work, do the work, grow the business, all the things all at once? And I think there's a point where you can't do it all and you do need to delegate. And of course, sometimes budget is what dictates what gets delegated and how it gets delegated. And again, sometimes it's the cheap and easy way and then eventually gets to the quality way, but still there are, you got to take your time with that. And I'm loving that we're bringing that up. Yeah. Because there are back end things that, are just driving us nuts that we used to love, that like show notes, I'm going to call it out, show notes. Like if I have to, we're going to hate it now, but I loved it. And now I'm like, I can't anymore. Like, and seasons and reasons with the business and everything, but we want that for you, but it's like,
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work because it takes another hour. Like when we record for an hour, it takes another hour to review it, like rewatch it, write it, and then post it and do all the things. And then even on the back end, we're sharing the episode, posting the episode, uploading it. And like those things, like once I showed somebody once, they could easily be doing that. And it's like, what is the cost of that? Is that really worth $250 an hour? No, thank you. Like that could be done by someone else for sure. And while at first you're going to cause it's so much, but we have to let go of a little bit too. And so, and
that's where we transition. That's our transition into being a CEO and not just an entrepreneur or freelancer or gig worker, like when you start to get to that point, that's when you're like, okay, now I really do need to think like a CEO.
Yeah.
I don't
need to be behind the cash register the most because it's customer facing, I feel, because like you need to see what, I think of Undercover Boss all the time, but you need to see the experience customer facing
Right.
and also the back end, but I don't think you need to be so much in the back end, like in the kitchen doing it all, as much as that like position of, outside the company, inside the company. I think there's that line. At least that's what I'm observing. I may be dead wrong. So CEOs that know better than me, please tell me, but I'm kind of feeling like that's the position I would play. Again, I play like water polo, right? I'm like, where in the field would I be? Like, I don't need my ass being kicked in whole set right now. And I don't need to be at point to like do this. I need to be right here to like, and so, that was something we were talking about, or what am I thinking? Download, breakthrough, whatever I was having this week was one of the assignments that Shauna, we need to have her on here. We talk way too much about her. What Shauna gives us is this abundance list. And it's ideally intended to list items that keep you high vibe and high energy, because the world is designed, the news, the day-to-day, to keep you low vibe, scarcity, in need, lack, yuck, bleh. But these were things that just daily, like having a full fridge, laying out your clothes the night before, little things that we can do that just help us stay high vibe. Well, I was kind of looking at it in a new way, and it's like, what items do I need to keep in place to keep me as the best CEO I can be? And I think one of those things that basically we're talking about now is doing only the things I can do, which means delegating these other things that are keeping you away from the cash register, or keeping you away from like doing the speeches or something, or the Zooms, or the, not speeches, sorry, all wrong words, podcasting, or any speaking or anything like that. Do you ever go through like every wrong word to get to the right one?
Yes.
Like, thank you, getting there. But does anything come up for you? I mean, with all the CEOs that you work with as your clients and yourself, what are things that you either need to like do that just keep them where they're supposed to be and not, out and about? Like, how do you keep, like, not to call out Jim, but like, Jim, how do you keep him in his lane doing what he's supposed to be doing?
Well, that's a whole different topic.
Or like any of us, or me, myself, you could use me too. How do you keep me doing what I'm supposed to be doing and not like over here, designing the next thing that I don't need to be doing?
Right. So a couple of things. One, for me, I'm a simple person. Like, can we please just make everything simple? Like, Jim is really bad about overcomplicating everything.
Right.
Like,
me too.
This morning he's like 10 long form blog posts. I'm like, what the fuck for? Like, I don't need that right now. But I think, really looking at the end goal and then reverse engineering it so that you can make things very simple and get to that goal as simply as you can, and working smarter. But I also think that from a CEO perspective, so if you think about it, any CEO of big corporation, they're in charge of everything. So they have to know a little bit about everything to keep on top of it all and making sure that it's still driving the business to the strategy, the vision, the mission, the values, or I did it backwards, values, vision, mission,
thank you,
strategy of the business as a whole. And that's the CEO's job. But the CEO has to trust that those people in each of those lanes or processes or departments, whatever you want to call it, are doing their job.
Yeah. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
And hi, Dragon.
Sorry. I was like, his first appearance in so long.
I know it is.
Sorry.
That's probably his first appearance since you made it to Chicago.
No, you've been over that many times. Yeah, no, we blocked him with the new plant in the corner. And then in full transparency, I'm currently in timeout. He's a little mad at me. I was putting bookcases together last night and I closed him out of the room because there were small pieces. I didn't want him doing it. I got hot. By the way, I had the windows open. I was doing all the things. And now he's genuinely, his feelings are hurt. It's kind of the cutest thing I've ever seen, but like now he's super close to me. So like, that's what this is. Yeah, he's been circling under the desk. I've been good at like blocking, but anyways. Okay. Kathleen says, I think that moving up to big picture is to infuse your work on the smaller tasks like logos with big picture thinking. Okay, I need to read this again. I think that moving up to big picture is to infuse your work on the smaller tasks like logos with big picture thinking.
So you take the details, but you don't think about it as a detail. You think about it as a whole in the bigger strategy.
Not what I was like. I will go.
I hope I interpreted that right, but
no, I think it was perfect. Yes. I think I need another cup of tea. I apologize, Kathleen. You always make sense. It's me that like needs a day to figure it out. No, Kathleen just said, yes, that's what she meant. Of course.
Okay.
Sorry. This is why she helps me, because you just get it. I need like support and understanding it. But yeah, no, taking those details and then seeing it as the big picture, not just in the details. So again, that one I could see like the forest from the trees analogy. That makes sense to me. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to say it this way. It's been interesting, but I've been having a parallel universe recently. Decorating my apartment. I know this sounds really silly, but I was thinking about it last night, and it's like very much like the branding process. You've got a vision in your mind, but then you're responsible of purchasing all the different, little finite pieces, the lamp, the bookcase, the this, the that, and you want it all to be cohesive and all to go together. But like sometimes you buy the wrong thing, or it gets in the space and it looks wrong, or it's like not intended. Anyways, it's actually been reminding me of the branding process. Well, it's a different medium of like furniture, paint, and decor versus digital graphics, logos, photography, website, that kind of thing. It's the same thing. And I was like, man, this is kind of fun. And just because it's doing what I do in a new way, if I'm explaining that well. And if not, we'll just end the call and I'll go immediately, intravenously, and sorry.
Well, no, and to get back to Kathleen's analogy on that, you still had to build all those things too. So like, that's the little details that you had to then think about, okay, my bigger vision is I want this library wall, but I've got to put it together now even to get to that point, So, you got to
brag. I didn't even break a nail. So excited. It was, I'm still very proud of myself. It was a required 2 people. I did it with 1, and there were power tools involved. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm so impressed by being this independent, but this goes back to the whole thing of like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Like, that's a big deal. Now, mind you, I kind of don't want anyone helping me with this right now, because like, I just have a vision. And when you see parts of it, you're not going to get the whole, but like, then when I'm sending things, you kind of get the whole. Like, I think there's been a few things that I've sent you and you're like, yeah, it's great. Ashley, I really like that. But then you see the whole thing. You're like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
And you've been great. You haven't like nothing. Like, what was there? Maybe the difference between the 2 lamps. Like, I intended that one to be over there, but while I needed the light, it was here, but it looked funky. I know it looked funky. Okay. Like, I know. Anyways, all right, we're at time, even with our tech glitches, but thank you. I'm eager to see how that worked out on the replay. Hopefully that wasn't too much of an issue. In the future, when we have one of our videographers, we'll just snip that out. Until then, excuse me, let's use correct terminology. Video editors. We will get that stripped out for you. Otherwise,
but it's fun joining us live and getting those things.
Yeah. You get dragons, you get tech gone wrongs, you get all the things. But Kathleen, thank you so much for joining us. Anyone else that joined us, say hello in the comments, leave us questions, leave us comments. Let us know if there's anything that we can do to support you. Be on the lookout. Join us live every Thursday, 9 Pacific Standard Time, noon Eastern Time, all time zones in between. We're here for you. We're here to share what's going on. And I hope today was helpful. I thought that was like so good for the points that we wanted to talk about. So we did very well. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.